podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up. Love and marriage. Love and marriage. They go together like a horse and carriage. This, I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Or can you? I don't know, but we're about to find out. So, welcome everybody. I won't bore you with a lot of riddles. For those that know where that song came from, keep that to yourself. We are here on the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast, and I'm so excited because I have a very special guest. I'll introduce myself in a second, but this guest we've had on before, and she was going through a very important campaign. But we have some good news, is that she won, and she prevailed, and we are so proud of her. She sprinkled her black girl magic everywhere in Fort Bend and prevailed and won, and we're so happy to have my guest, Fort Bend County Attorney-elect, Bridget Smith Lawson.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
No
it's a pleasure
problem,
being
no
with
problem,
you again.
no problem. All right, so just before we get into the material, just tell us a little bit about how it's been and how it feels and the response you've been getting.
Well, it's been an experience I'll never forget. It's the whole election process is a very intense, a very robust process. Every day, just all of the things that have to be done, meeting the voters, getting the votes. But winning has been amazing. As you know, I'm the first black female county attorney in Fort Bend and Texas history. So out of 254 counties in this great state, I am the first black female county attorney elected. So I'm very happy, grateful to God for that monumental win. Wow. And right now I'm in between transitioning from one office to the other, and it's been a balancing and a juggling act of sorts, but very grateful.
Good.
Thank you.
Well, we are so happy. I know I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
But I didn't know that about all of Texas. We're gonna have to celebrate you come February for Black History Month. That's huge.
Yes, it is.
Good. All right. Well, I'm going to follow up with my own little introduction, but I kind of pale in comparison to our new county attorney here. My name is Steve Okoraha. For those that don't know, I practice all types of law here in Fort Bend and Harris County. I've been practicing for over 8 years, and what I'm doing with these podcasts is trying to educate you and trying to give you tips and tools that you can use in your everyday life. So you may or may not have to call me or Bridget or any other lawyer out there. We're going to cover a wide range of different issues with these shows, but for those that were tuned in last week, we had part 1 of our love and marriage. This is now part 2. So we're going to get into some more material and teach you guys about the process of getting a divorce. One of the cliffhangers I left you guys with last week was the status of no-fault divorces. We saw that clip that there was a bill introduced on the Texas House floor to get rid of no-fault divorces. So I'll tell you what happened with that. And we are also going to talk about the pitfalls of divorce and some of the things that can really get you caught up. So I brought Bridget on to discuss a little bit and give her perspective because she's a seasoned attorney. But before we get into all of that, I'm going to have to let you wait a little bit. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, pay some bills, and when we come back, we'll get right into it. So we'll be right back.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
right, welcome everybody. We're back with Bridget Smith Lawson, our new county attorney, going to be sworn in on January 1st.
That's right.
All right, so we are going to now talk about the process of getting a divorce. And as I told you last week, I was telling you we were talking about common law marriage, we were talking about spousal maintenance, we were talking about a lot of different things, but I can't leave you guys without telling you how to get it done. Can't tell you every little thing because it's a little complicated, but I'm going to give you the majority of the things that you need. And as usual, I recommend that you get an attorney to consult with when doing these things. So, process of getting a divorce. At least one party must have lived in the state of Texas for the past 6 months and in the county that you are filing in for the past 90 days. So, if you or your spouse do not fit those requirements, you cannot get a divorce, at least in this state, or in Fort Bend County, or in Harris County, or Brazoria, wherever. And things you'll need to file. You'll need an original petition for divorce. Make sure when you fill that out, you make 3 copies of it. Why? You need one to file, one to serve, and then one for yourself, I believe. And that way the court clerk's office is able to effectuate service and, of course, filing within the court's file. And they will assign you a cause number and a court number. Affidavit of inability to pay costs. This is also termed as a pauper's affidavit if you're not able to pay fees. Fees run anywhere from $250 to $300, I believe,
Yes.
In terms of filing for a divorce. So if you're unable to afford that, don't fear. That's why they have that form, but they will ask you to list all of your assets. So you just can't say, hey, I'm filing this and I can't afford it. Please let me go ahead and proceed with my divorce. No, they'll actually, go through and check it. So be careful with that. A civil process request form, that is so that the other party can be served. And we are going to talk about the importance of service because that is a big hurdle that a lot of people get caught up in and they're not able to get things done. And then, of course, the case information sheet. This is just basic information about all parties, any children, any other party that needs to be involved in the case as well. And if you already have a prior custody order in place, then you need to go ahead and file with that custody order. A lot of times people forget. Sometimes they'll just file the divorce by itself and they'll say, oh, well, what about that custody order back then? You got to put that together so that the court knows that the children are being taken care of. And whenever there's a divorce with children, that is one of the most important things that gets factored in with the court. So that's another issue that we are going to tackle soon. And then, of course, everyone asks, well, Steve, if I want to get a divorce tomorrow, how long is it going to take? Minimum, it's going to take 60 days, and that's 2 months. Why that is, that's just the law. For the most part, the only way you can get a divorce sooner is if one of the spouses has been convicted or received deferred adjudication for family violence, family or domestic violence. So if there's any type of violence and there's a conviction on their record or there has been some type of adjudicated offense for that, then you can also petition the court to have that 60 days waived. So, but other than that, it takes about 60 days. So, and then of course, a waiver of citation is another thing that you can file with the court. That is the other party basically agreeing to the divorce and basically saying, hey, judge, I don't need to hear anything about this. Whatever they put in front of you, I have agreed to that and ahead of time. But that way, those are really the easier divorces. And
Yes.
have you had the experience of seeing people file those?
Yes, I have, and I've actually represented clients on a divorce where we had a waiver of service. Essentially, you come to court and you prove up your divorce without the other
Yep.
spouse being present, and the judge agrees with your conclusion on the separation of the property or how the children should be in terms of giving conservatorship to one parent versus the other. It's really a simplistic process.
Definitely.
If you agree.
Yes, that is if you agree. So you are able to determine what happens with the property, what happens with the kids. The judge does not always have to do it, but
That's right.
if you guys agree, the judge is happy with it. If you like it, he loves it. So he or she loves it. So that's what the waiver is there for. So, and then of course, like we were saying before, the service of the citation is very important. You can get a divorce without serving your spouse. Let's say you don't know where he or she is. There are ways to go about it. There is the citation by posting, which is basically if you're getting a divorce without children, then the citation with publication is where you're getting a divorce with children. There's little nuance differences between those two, but have you had the experience of, getting service with? Yeah.
Yes, I have.
It's rare, but sometimes people just aren't able to find where their spouse is, or they've been apart for so long that they're like, I don't know where he or she lives. We don't talk. We're estranged. He moved to Mexico or to Timbuktu or something. But I would say though that it makes the case a little bit longer because it does take time to get those done. So you want to make sure that if you're thinking about getting a divorce, that you at least know where your spouse is, and that helps not only yourself, but if you get an attorney, it helps the attorney a lot.
Exactly.
And then a lot of people ask, well, Steve, after that 60-day period, when can I get remarried? I got a new boo. I'm trying to get hitched to. And first I would say slow down and really think about your decisions so you don't engage in another divorce down the line. But you have to wait at least 30 days. And I mean, hey, you got to plan a wedding, you got to plan all of that. I mean, unless you're trying to go to Vegas and do it real quick for some reason, but 30 days is the time frame that you have to wait after you get a divorce.
Exactly.
So, have you had people try to waive that or try to get around that?
I haven't had that issue to come up, but I've had people who want to hurry up and get it done as quick as possible, get the divorce finalized, but not so much as hurrying up to get remarried.
Absolutely, yeah. I've actually had the experience of having clients say, well, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And I thought I was trying to figure out what the issue was, and it really was that they just wanted to get out there and mingle and find someone else. I guess they, being with somebody that you've been in a dispute with isn't fun. Yes. And I get the urge to want to get out of it, but the law makes you wait.
Yes.
So
it's called a cooling off period.
Yes.
That's what the law, and it makes sense. I mean,
definitely.
With marriage there comes conflict, and the law is built to basically buffer those intense moments of conflict with a permanent severance by giving that time period to cool off.
Absolutely. Very well said. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we are going to talk about what happened with no-fault divorces, and we're going to talk about some of the pitfalls and the focuses that at least the court looks at when you get a divorce. So, we will be right back.
Devin, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
Okay.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? DJ Khaled to be your motivational coach?
Yo, Devin, remember to brush in a circle motion. Thank you, DJ Khaled. Tiny circles, Devin. Do another one. Another one. Is this good? Put in that work, Devin. Don't give up.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
Don't play yourself.
Welcome back. We are talking about love and marriage, and specifically we are talking about divorces. So we're going to get right into it. Last week we left you with a video discussing some people that wanted to get no-fault divorces out of there. They said, well, hey, it shouldn't be difficult to get married and easy to get divorced. It should be the other way around. They said it should be easy, easy to get married and hard to get a divorce. So I don't know how everyone feels about that, but I will let you know that no-fault divorces are still here. They didn't go anywhere. And I think you would agree with good reason.
Yes.
There are a lot of situations that call for divorce but don't really fit within the fault grounds for divorce. The fault grounds are very, very minimal.
Yes.
I would say they're not as elaborate. So we're going to go through what those are. We're going to discuss them just for a little bit. They're really basic, so we'll just touch on them a little bit so that you guys know what those fault grounds are. First fault ground is adultery. I mean, that's plain and simple. Your spouse steps out on you. You have the right to go after that spouse for a greater share of the community property. In fact, all of these fault grounds allow you to do that. In Texas, it's not an automatic 50-50 like most states. It could be 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. I've never seen it go that high, but fault grounds kind of tip the balance in your favor if it occurs to you. So adultery is number one. Cruelty, what they have here is that if you are treated in a way that makes the marriage insupportable. Now, I would say that kind of has a broad scope. I mean, it could be interpreted a little, differently by different people. It could be mental abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, all different types of things that you can try to allege. Could be abuse from family. It could be a lot of different things. But I think that would probably be, one of the things that would be a little bit hard
Yes.
to prove, or at least try to allege, because there's just so much that goes into that. But that's why no-fault divorces are available, so you don't have to go that far in proving it.
Yes.
You just say our marriage was insupportable due to a conflict of personalities, and
That
you call it-
destroyed the
that
legitimate
destroy-
ends of the relationship.
of the relationship. Yeah, I was trying to remember the rest of it. I do it so much that I should, but all right. Number 3 is that there has been an abandonment. So if your spouse leaves you for at least a year, then you can say, well, hey judge, he or she abandoned me. I think a divorce is proper because the marriage should not continue, and that is a fault ground. And then the last one is felony conviction. I'm sure maybe some people can understand that. Of course, if that person has been imprisoned for at least a year with a felony conviction, you can go ahead. That is a fault ground to go ahead and get a divorce as well. So, have you had experiences with clients that have alleged one or two of these things?
Well, no, not necessarily felony, but of course domestic violence,
Yeah,
that being an
absolutely.
issue, and of course that comes into play with temporary restraining orders, basically temporary orders to prohibit each spouse from doing certain things during the pendency of the divorce. But domestic violence, yes. Abandonment, yes, but not felonies.
Yeah. I think domestic violence is really the biggest one, and we see that all too often, especially now with COVID-19. The cases of domestic violence have shot up, unfortunately. But I mean, that's just one of the side effects of kind of being cooped up in the house. So that's just one of the things that allows you to, once you present that to the court, it's one of the things that allows you to kind of have things tip in your favor in terms of trying to get things done faster, trying to get you out of that situation so that you're safe. The courts really look deeply upon that as something that they want to rectify and make sure that the one receiving the abuse is as safe as possible.
And I do want to add, if you find that you are a victim of domestic violence, please reach out and get help. That is a dangerous situation for you as a spouse and your children to be involved in, and failure to act for the protection of yourself or your children really is putting your life in danger, seriously. So
Definitely.
reach out, get help. That does not mean that You need to tell your partner, because a lot of times during domestic violence situations, you need to be able to act quickly and get help, and then get protected first before your spouse is made aware, because sometimes it leads to bigger issues. But please, if you are a victim of domestic violence, or if your children are experiencing it in the home as well, please get help. And if you know someone who needs help, please get help. You can do a quick search just on your phone and Google domestic violence, and there's a plethora of resources that will pop up
Absolutely.
right there for you to get help and get the care that you need.
Definitely. You heard our new county attorney. You can definitely find a lot of resources online. If you call my office, I'll be able to give you a list of hotlines that you can call. I know that Houston Volunteer Lawyers Program, as well as Lone Star Legal Aid, has a program specifically for domestic violence victims, so they will take your case. I've seen it happen all the time, and they have specific people that are working just for people that are encountering domestic violence. So there's a lot of resources out there. Do not suffer in silence. So, okay. Now we are going to talk about a couple of different issues in divorce, and these are going to be the pillars of what you encounter in a divorce, and we are talking about property division and children. So I'm going to have Bridget talk a little bit about property division, and then we are going to discuss children. So Bridget, in terms of property, what typically have you seen, and what usually is the experience with dividing property?
Okay. Usually what I've experienced as well is that the court will try its best to make an equitable division of the property, unless of course there are some fault grounds where a disproportionate amount of the estate should be awarded to one spouse because of the fault in the divorce. But normally, even in instances of adultery, the courts usually just try to make a division that's pretty much split 50-50. Now, that doesn't mean that you take a flat screen TV and split it in half. That means that if you get the big screen, then maybe, your spouse gets the stove, to try to balance off the division, because there's really no way to just kind of cut property in half. So it's usually a balancing. You will be required to fill out a worksheet which lists all of your assets, everything that you have in your home, every furnishing, even your retirement plans, insurance plans, etc. The court wants to look at the totality of the estate from a liquidated amount and also in a tangible amount, so that it can make a decision as to who gets what. I've seen people argue over townhouses, and I've seen people argue over microwaves.
Wow.
But I will tell you this, most of the people who really want to be done and finished, they are okay with you getting the microwave or maybe getting an extra rental property just for that peace of mind. So I do know that in a divorce proceeding, you are required to let the court know and let your spouse and maybe your spouse's attorney know all of the assets that you believe the estate has, and then vice versa, so that whatever is a part of the marital estate, the property that was gained and earned during the marriage by way of working or income, not property that you inherited, because those things fall into your separate property. And without getting too technical, your best bet is to just bring it all to the court's attention, so that the judge can make the decision and make that equitable distribution of the community estate.
Definitely. And I know in in a lot of instances that microwave that they're fighting over, or that stove they're fighting over, they will ask that it be sold and the proceeds split.
That's right.
So that is another option, since you can't, like she said, split it in half. But another thing that I encounter with clients, and I know you have as well, is when both spouses are on the names of like car titles and stuff. So the court will ask you to go and get a refinancing done so that you can take that other person off. And the biggest thing, and I have at least a few cases now that this is an issue, is that, well, if I get a refinancing, I won't be able to afford that vehicle. Well, yeah, you may have to downgrade. It's possible. Or you come up with an agreement with your spouse that you both maintain the payments, or he or she just stays on the lease, and you cover those payments. So it just depends. But the main thing is that no spouse wants to be liable for property that is not theirs anymore, and I think that could be another issue that people play with in their heads a lot. So
yes,
good.
And I would say this as well: if you walk away from a marriage with a divorce settlement that says that he or she, your spouse, your ex-spouse, is supposed to pay a bill because you maybe weren't able to refinance that, just know that if these items were purchased in joint names, meaning joint credit accounts, their failure to pay will affect your credit rating. You won't be able to say, well, we got a divorce and he was supposed to pay for the car. The credit company is going to ask and want you to pay because you're both on the hook equally. So just be prepared that if you walk away from a marriage where you are relying on a spouse to pay the bill, that if they don't pay it, it could affect you. Also know that if you walk away from a divorce with, say for instance, your husband gets all of the property and you get a judgment that he's supposed to pay you $100,000 and pay that amount in increments or installments, if he does not pay that cash amount, you really don't have a lot of recourse for that outside of maybe going through some civil enforcement processes. But it is better from a perspective of division of property that you come out with property, tangibles, instead of just a judgment that he takes all of the items and you get a piece of paper saying he's going to pay me. That usually doesn't work out that well. Yeah, because then you'll have to deal with getting a collections done, and I mean, the piece of paper you have that says you're supposed to get payment is just that. It's a piece of paper. The enforcement of it is up to you. The judge cannot enforce it. That's something that you have to go forth and do on your own. So, but yeah, in a nutshell, property can be pretty sticky, but there are ways to go about it, and this is probably the biggest part of divorce that I tell people to get an attorney for, because if you have a lot of assets and you want to make sure that it's split equitably with no muss, no fuss between you and the spouse, you need an attorney for that. Right.
So it's definitely important. But the next biggest thing, and I think the more important thing than property, is children. Yes. They often get dragged into this way too much than they should be. But whenever children are involved, that is the prime focus of the court, is making sure that they're okay. So the three issues with that is possession, custody, and child and medical support. There are other little issues around that, but those are the three biggest things. Who's going to have the child? What is going to be the custodial arrangement? Whether there's going to be a sole managing conservator, whether there's going to be joint managing conservators. Conservatorship can also be called custody. So for those that aren't familiar with the word conservatorship. But in terms of who gets a child, that is something that you guys can decide. But the court has a standard possession schedule that they have determined to be fair. At least one of you has to be adjudicated to be the primary custodian. That is the person that the home address of the child will reside there, and then the other parent will have to have the visits. They will either come and pick up the child, take them back to where they are, have supervised visits if that is necessary, if there has been any instance of abuse or child endangerment, things like that. So those are some issues that get put in that. And of course, the big thing that everybody likes to fight about sometimes in divorce is child support.
Sure.
They have courts specifically dedicated to child support. For those that don't know, child support is big business for the state of Texas, and I'm not just talking about them making money off of it, but going after those that aren't paying it is a whole case in and of itself. So, but you can agree to have child support between the two of you without involving the Attorney General's office. It's definitely possible, but you have to come to that agreement. And a lot of times the state's Attorney General's office is there to make sure that those payments are collected. And then, of course, if there's non-payment, there can be an enforcement case done to try to go after that, that person that's not paying. So there's a lot of issues with that. Have you seen a lot of, those types of issues
Yes,
with
I
child
have.
support?
I can tell you, in the context of a divorce, even when you're determining conservatorship of a child, who's going to be, even with a joint managing conservator, who's going to be the primary conservator with the responsibility of determining the residence of the home, residence of the children, rather. I've seen judges make the decision on awarding the home and phrase it as such. I am awarding the home to the children, meaning the parent who is given the right to determine the children's primary residence will have that home. So that plays into the division of property, plays into also the conservatorship. And then also in the context of child support arrangements, I will tell you this. The state of Texas is aggressive in collecting child support because when a parent is single and they do not have the resources that they need to meet the children's needs, most likely they turn to a state agency to provide them with housing, provide them with WIC, other subsidies. So the state of Texas will be vested in making sure that a parent, I'm not going to just say a father, because we have mothers and fathers who are dilatory in their respects of child support. So they will go after whoever to enforce them to support the child or support the children. So child support, sometimes, we get these images of, of maybe one selfish parent just demanding, but it's really the money for the children to make sure that they have the needs that they should have. And if you are in a situation where you're paying child support and the children's needs aren't being met, guess what? You have grounds to go to court and make an argument to the judge that I'm paying child support, but yet there are needs for my children that are being neglected. And so that judge is aware and maybe can make some adjustments on that and change the conservatorship of the children. So
there's so much to it, and honestly, we can keep going on and on about this. There are so many nuances to child support and custody, and of course property as well. But we've talked your ear off enough right now. When we come back, we're going to give you a few more tips. Now that you know how to go about getting a divorce, we want to make sure that you're doing things the right way. And of course, if you're not getting an attorney, you want to avoid some of these pitfalls that we talked about. So we'll be right back with some more tips. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're on the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast. I'm here with Bridget. We're just chopping it up, talking about some tips about divorce and a lot of the things that we've experienced. It is probably the craziest form of law that you can practice. Absolutely. Yes. I think you would agree.
Yes.
That divorce law is very sticky, to say the least. So, now that you guys know how to go about getting a divorce, still I say consult with an attorney. Make sure that you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed. But I'm going to give you some last minute tips, and then we're going to wrap up here. So if you decide to go this alone without an attorney, remember that you are your own attorney and that the judge expects you to act like one.
Okay.
So there are going to be things that you're supposed to say. And things that you're supposed to do. If you don't know how to do those things, the judge will not hear your case. They will reset your case, or they'll dismiss your case and tell you to come back when you're prepared. So not to say that you can't get one done without being an attorney, without having a license, but it's just one of those things that you need to do your research and make sure you're doing and saying the right things. And I know, at least in the Harris County courts, and I have experienced this in Fort Bend courts as well, they will have a questionnaire, like a paper,
Yes.
that you're supposed to read off of. So they're not going to leave you completely high and dry, but you do need to come prepared. So, number 2, do not ask the judge to guide you or give you paperwork. They are not there to help you. They're not your friend. They're not your co-counsel. They are not your attorney. So they are going to expect that you have done your research and that you know exactly what to do. Do not give them paperwork. The judge won't even look at it. And they won't look at it not just because it's coming from you, but we all courts now are paperless anyway. So unless you absolutely had to file it and you are not able to file online, they still won't take the paperwork. So and then last but not least, when drafting the final decree, make sure you get the information about the kids, custodial arrangements, division of property, and other things straight before filing. A lot of times what you put in your pleadings, in your petition, what may or may not come out in the other documents in trial doesn't always make it to the final decree. You're just like, well, hey, 60 days is up. I can go and, default him or her, and I put together a basic petition, and oops, I forgot about child support, or I forgot about that truck that I wanted to put in there. I forgot about, what type of custody plan that I want. I didn't want first, third, and fifth weekends of every month. I wanted something else. So make sure that once you get that final decree in, it states exactly what your desires are, because you can file something that you may not like, and then you'll have to wait a while in order to get it changed. It's not instant. You're not just gonna come back to judge and say, wait, I made a mistake. Nope. You have what you have, and you're stuck with it for a little bit. So but yeah, so those are the tips that I have for you. So if you're feeling, dangerous enough, you can go ahead and file your own divorce now. But if not, you can definitely give me a call, because this is my bread and butter. This is what I do on almost a daily basis. Let me give you my contact information. My email is contact@goodmanmcgill.com. My phone number is 833-529-9748. My website is www.goodmanmcgill.com, and as usual, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I also want to thank once again our newly elected county attorney in Fort Bend. We're so happy. We're so proud. She's already breaking history, as we speak. And I know it's going to be a tough job, but I know you are going to be well equipped with it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You have all of our support here. So any last thoughts or final words?
Oh, well, just enjoy this holiday season as best you
Absolutely.
can with family. I know there's a lot of distancing that's required of us, so that we can maintain the safety of our loved ones and each other. But do your best as much as you can to celebrate the holidays, celebrate 2020. It's been a hard year, but thank God we're here at this point. Thank you all for your support, and I look forward to visiting with Steve again.
Definitely. We're gonna try and get her back, even though after January 1st it's gonna be difficult to pull her away. That's why I had to get her in one last time, before the year is ending. But we hope to have you back. We love having you here. You've been a wealth of information. So, but yes, with the holiday season, with everything's going on, make sure you're safe, and remember, when life gets you down, remember to lawyer up. Thank you, guys. We will see you next week. Tune into the Lawyer Up with Steve podcast on the Boss Up Houston Network. Come get your questions answered. We'll see you then. And remember, lawyer up.